Vincent Ashford grabbed the orderly by the collar and slammed him against the wall. "What the hell are you doing in my daughter's room?" The man didn't fight back. He just said quietly, "I'm the only person in this hospital who can actually talk to her." 40 feet away, behind a locked door, a billionaire's daughter sat in a wheelchair with bandages on her wrists, deaf, paralyzed, and done with living. But what happened next between this desperate father and a broke single dad would shatter everything both men believed about money, love, and what it truly means to save someone. Before we begin, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We love seeing how far these stories travel, and if you haven't yet subscribed, because this one's going to stay with you. Marcus Reed should have walked away. His shift ended 22 minutes ago. His daughter was waiting at Mrs. Dawson's house. His back hurt. His feet were swollen. He had $11 in his checking account, and payday wasn't until Friday. There was absolutely no reason for a 34-year-old hospital orderly to be standing in the East Wing of Bayside Medical Center at 10:47 on a Tuesday night, staring through a window at a woman he'd never met. But Marcus didn't walk away. And that single decision, that one moment of choosing to stay instead of leave, would change the course of two families forever. He saw her through the glass. A young woman in a wheelchair facing the city, lights, her shoulders shaking with sobs so deep they seemed to come from somewhere below her bones. Marcus knew who she was. Everyone at Bayside knew. Era Ashford, 26 years old, only child of Vincent Ashford, the men who'd built Ashford Dynamics into a $14 billion empire. 3 months ago, she'd been in a car accident that the news called miraculous because she survived. But the reporters didn't mention what surviving had cost her. The trauma to her inner ears had left her permanently deaf. The spinal compression had taken her legs. In one night, a woman who'd been groomed to inherit a tech dynasty couldn't hear her own name or walk across a room. The hospital staff whispered about her constantly. She wouldn't eat. She'd thrown a water pitcher at a nurse's head. 3 different sign language instructors had tried and failed. She wouldn't even look at them. 2 therapists had quit after she refused to acknowledge their existence. And 2 nights ago, the thing nobody wanted to say out loud, a night nurse had found her in the bathroom. Broken glass, blood on her wrist. She hadn't cut deep enough, but the message was clear. Since then, suicide watch, 24-hour observation. Her room stripped of anything sharp. Her father spending every night in the chair beside her bed, sleeping in a suit that cost more than Marcus' truck. Marcus stood in that hallway watching her cry, and something inside him cracked open. He thought about his mother. Grace Reed had been deaf since she was 3 years old. Bacterial meningitis had stolen her hearing in a hospital not so different from this one. But it never stole her fight. She raised Marcus alone after his father disappeared. A man whose name Marcus learned to stop asking about by the time he was 6. Grace worked as a seamstress. 12-hour days bent over a Singer machine, her fingers moving fabric with the same precision she used to shape words in the air. She taught Marcus sign language before he could properly read. By 5, his hands were fluent. By 8, he was interpreting for her at parent-teacher conferences, at the grocery store, at the doctor's office. By 10, he understood something most adults never grasp. His mother wasn't broken. She just lived in a world that hadn't been built for her. Grace died 2 years ago. Breast cancer. It moved fast, faster than the doctors expected. Faster than Marcus could prepare for. He'd been holding her hand when she went. Her last sign to him was simple. Take care of Lily. Love loud. Now standing in this hallway, Marcus heard his mother's voice as clearly as if she were beside him. The hardest part of going deaf wasn't the silence, Marcus. It was feeling like nobody could reach me anymore. Like I was locked inside a glass room and the whole world was on the other side. Marcus pushed open the door. Era spun her wheelchair around so fast she nearly tipped it. Her eyes went wide, not with surprise, but with a particular terror of someone who'd been ambushed too many times by well-meaning strangers. Her hands gripped the armrests until her knuckles turned white. Her jaw clenched. She looked at Marcus the way a cornered animal looks at a hand it doesn't trust. Marcus stopped walking. He didn't speak, didn't smile, didn't do any of the things the nurses and therapists had probably done. The pitying head tilt, the exaggerated lip movements, the patronizing gestures. Instead, he lowered himself to one knee slowly, carefully until they were eye to eye, and he raised his hands. I see you. His signs were slow, deliberate, shaped with the kind of precision his mother had drilled into him since childhood. You're scared. You're angry. You think nobody in this building understands what you're going through. Era's expression cracked. Just barely a fracture line across the mask she'd been wearing for 3 months. Her lips parted, her breathing changed. Marcus continued, my mother was deaf. She taught me this language before I could read. She taught me that losing your hearing doesn't mean losing your voice. Era stared at him. Her chest was heaving. Tears were still falling, but something behind her eyes had shifted.